What's good, everybody? We are back with another Call of Duty Mobile video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. I will go ahead and say thank you guys once again for all the support on the channel over the last few days. We are so freaking close to 400,000 subscribers, and I think we might actually hit it today. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't already. I'm super hyped for it because I haven't hit a big milestone like this in a really long time, and it just gets me excited for the future of the channel. But anyway, what you guys are most likely here to see me talk about is the release of the free HBR in Call of Duty Mobile. So basically, last week I made a video about some leakers revealing that there was a skin for a free HBR being released into the game files. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the gun is going to be immediately free, but more than likely at some point in time in the future, the gun will be released as a free-to-play version. Now, as you guys can see right here, we do have the free-to-play Pharaoh and also the free-to-play Locust. So we've seen Call of Duty Mobile releasing guns that have been paid to play in the past. And I've been getting a lot of questions about where is the free HBR, because I think a lot of people were expecting it to come out in Season 6 of Call of Duty Mobile, which isn't something announced. While there were a lot of people talking about it, it doesn't necessarily mean just because people found game files for it that it's going to be coming into the game immediately, and especially when you consider the fact that there have been free-to-play Pharaoh and Locust skins in past versions of the beta, it makes sense that we don't have the HBR yet. But we're going to be looking at past releases of Call of Duty Mobile paid guns and looking at when it's most likely that we're going to be seeing the free HBR in the game, and also whether or not that is a realistic expectation. So I'm going to be using YouTube videos as timestamps for these just because that's the best way to get an actual order of when all of these came out and when to expect the free version of the HBR in Call of Duty Mobile. The very first pay-to-obtain gun in Call of Duty Mobile was the Razorback. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Razorback actually has identical stats to the PDW. And while it is interesting that it was the first gun to come out and doesn't yet have a free version, it makes sense because from all studies that people have done, it does appear that the Razorback is essentially an identical copy of the PDW, just with a different name. So it is the one gun that doesn't really fit into the pattern that we've seen in the past of Call of Duty Mobile of them releasing the paid skins, which, by the way, we can see is something that they're not going to be doing anymore because, as you can see, we have the free HVK, we have the free Outlaw, we also have the free KN44, and the free GKS. So it's obvious that that is not something that they're going to continue doing, especially given how much strife and disagreement it's caused in the community with the paid-to-play versus free-to-play sides of the community. But like I said, the Razorback was the very first gun to be released where you had to pay in order to obtain it, but we haven't seen a free version of that because it is essentially the PDW, and you can get the PDW for free. So next up, we had the ICR, the Dark Matter skin came out November 23rd in Call of Duty Mobile. So about 2 months later, we did see that there was a free version of the ICR released into the game. You can see from the timestamp on this one, January 16th is when we did receive the free ICR in Call of Duty Mobile. This is not one that people made a really big deal about because people pretty much knew the ICR was very similar to the M4 and actually initially had the exact same stats, and it wasn't until later on that it was changed up and made a little more unique from the M4 so that people weren't just saying, oh, it's a reskin version of the M4, kind of like the Razorback was for the PDW. But it was the first pay-to-obtain gun that was made available to free-to-play players in Call of Duty Mobile, which is why it's significant. Next up, we have the Locust, which came out on December 12th in 2019, very soon after the ICR. And this did follow the same order because it came out about a week after the free version of the ICR came to the game, only it had to be obtained through rank. Okay, now you can actually see the real release date on it because I had it cut out right there. Now, this one was released sooner afterward because you can see right here, December 12th to January 20th is obviously a shorter period of time, but they are still following the same sequence in which the guns were released into the game, making them available to free-to-play players. Then the next gun that we got after the Locust that was only available as a pay-to-play gun was the Pharaoh on December 31st. Now, the Pharaoh was actually the gun out of all of these that had the longest amount of time between the free version and the paid version, because it was only in the most recent update that this was made available for free-to-play players, which meant it actually took 4 months for it to be released. With that being said, it wasn't a huge deal because the Pharaoh was never really considered to be a top-tier gun, and as such, people didn't really make a really big deal about it. And the gun that came out after that was only available in a paid version was actually kind of forgotten. The KRM was the shotgun released into the game on January 17th, but really nobody made a big deal out of it because, number one, shotguns are not really used a whole lot in Call of Duty Mobile, and number two, it wasn't even a top-tier shotgun because most times it gets outgunned by the by 15. So by the fact that we don't have a KRM released into Call of Duty Mobile, it makes sense that we don't yet have a free HBR in the game as well. And then, as you guys know, about a week later, the HBR was released into the game, and this was a really big deal because for a while this has been considered by most people to be a top 3 assault rifle in the game, if not the best assault rifle in the game because of its combination of damage output and the low recoil that it has. And as you would expect, all the activists in Reddit got all up in a tizzy about the fact that the HBR still has not been released as a free-to-play gun in Call of Duty Mobile, because most of us would like to believe that it is not a pay-to-win game, and yet one of the best guns in the game has still not been released. However, I will say that the release timing and the way that things have come out does follow the pattern that they've set in the past, especially for the other pay-to-obtain guns. However, one thing that we have seen introduced into Call of Duty Mobile was a new way that they've implemented missions, especially the seasonal missions, which will allow you to obtain not only the Pharaoh for free, but also the Locust for free, with both rare and also common skins for the guns. And if you look up in the top right corner right here, you can see these missions end in 30 days, aka at the end of this Battle Pass season, which will be in 30 days, close to the beginning of June, when the next season of Ranked is scheduled to be started. Now, based on the fact that the HBR was released about a month after the Pharaoh, it does make sense to expect that in the next introduction of the seasonal missions for Call of Duty Mobile, more than likely we will see free versions of both the KRM and the HBR introduced into the game, because those are the only remaining guns that have not yet been obtainable for free-to-play players. While I know that there are a lot of players out there that still would like to play with the HBR and believe that the HBR is still the best gun in the game, don't give up hope yet, because it does look like, based off the pattern that we've seen in the past, there is a good chance that is going to be introduced into the game, especially given the fact that leakers have revealed a free-to-play skin. And there are also additional paid skins for the HBR that have been introduced in the game, which I covered in my last video about the free HBR coming to the game. And based on when this Battle Pass is set to end, it does look like June 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we can expect a free HBR and KRM to be introduced into the game. More than likely going to be very similar missions to how we've been able to obtain both the Pharaoh and the Locust in Call of Duty Mobile. So I just want to go ahead and make this video to cover that for you guys, just to take a look at past expectations and look like what will be realistic future expectations. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, drop a like down below, and also subscribe to the squad if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time.